Hey everybody, it's me, Rick Acosta, the Dodger Card Collector, coming to you with another video. Today is Sunday, November 12th, and I'm finally getting the opportunity to put out a video for this weekend. I'm a little late by my standards. Actually recording this during the early games of the NFL Sunday. But when it comes to collecting, and that was one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today, which is why my video is delayed, is the other aspects of collecting. We all enjoy getting cards. I do just as much as anyone else does. But there are other aspects of collecting that I enjoy a lot more, that I find very important to my collection, to keep my collection as strong as I'd like to keep it. And there's a couple of things I wanted to talk to you guys today about before I show you some of my latest showings. But when it comes, like when I mentioned the other aspects of collecting, there's always the accounting part. What's my budget? There's also the aspect of looking at certain supplies. What do I need? Take, for example, I'm contemplating, or I am going to be making a new card room video in December. And in doing that, I'm fortunate enough, like a lot of the YouTubers out there, we have our card rooms, and that's something that I take great pride in, and I want it to look great, and I always want to improve it. And it's something that I get to do on the side when I'm not buying baseball cards. And because I'm waiting for a few cards in the mail, and my want list is getting a little low, this allows me the opportunity to look at things. Like, take a look. Like, I need to order. So one of the things I'm going to order here. This is my 1953 set. It's in a binder. And one of the things I like to order are these binder sleeves. So I get these from Binder Tech. And I'll put my 53 set. This company is called Baseball Card Binders. And the owner passed away, but someone just bought the company, and now they're releasing these types of binders. So I always like to put my binders in the binder sleeve. But I need more binders, or I need more binder sleeves. So I had to make an inventory of that. I look at some of my hockey binders are a little beat up. It's time to start thinking about getting them new binders. And then another aspect, which I literally spent all weekend on, was my inventory. Yeah, I'm one of those. I like to know where every card is. And in the past, I always kept my cards on an Excel spreadsheet. And in the last few years, I've moved my entire collection also onto the trading card database, TCDB website. All of my cards are listed there. And it's something that, for me, it's important to know where all my cards are. Now, my Excel spreadsheets have gotten a little bit out of hand especially in the last year, I would say. And I wanted to tighten that up. So I went ahead and, like I said, spent a couple of days looking at my spreadsheets, trying to condense the spreadsheets while trying to add or keep the same amount of info that I always had. And then one of the things, and this is where I get really detailed, is that my collection consists of, according to TCDB, my collection consists of 20,313 baseball cards. And my Excel spreadsheets need to match that, honestly. And I have to have it. Whatever TCDB says, I have to have that on my Excel spreadsheets. And if not, I start an investigation. And literally yesterday, I was short one card, and I realized that several months ago, I had bought a 1934 Diamond Stars Al Simmons and had never inputted any info into my spreadsheets or the TCDB database. And that's where my one card was missing. But I do take great pride in knowing how many cards I own. And, I'm called Dodger Card Collector. And you'd be surprised, of the 20,313 cards I owned, around 3,500 of them are Dodger cards. So it's not like I have 19,000 Dodger cards. And to you guys, 20,000 might not be much, because I know there's lots of people on here that have several 100,000 cards. That's just not my style. Even at this moment, with what I currently own, as I mentioned, this 20,000 number. If I decided to get the rest of the Topps cards, and I'll even throw in the Bowman cards, Topps and Bowman cards that I need from 1950 through 1970, that would maybe add 6 or 7 thousand more cards. You could throw in the Gaudies in there as well and the play balls. My inventory, if my inventory is 30,000, that probably means I have close to every card I've ever wanted. So I'm not one of those that needs, if you got 100,000 cards, all power to you, and that probably means you have every set from, or you have a lot of modern cards. So that's just not my style. But like I say, 20,000 is enough for me. I'll get a few thousand more. I'll probably eventually top out somewhere around 22 to 23,000. I'd say probably around 23,000 will be my total at the end, whenever that is. Oh my God. But let's see. But those are some of the things I wanted to talk to you about. I've got a show next week in Pasadena, California. They are promising out-of-state vendors, according to some of the comments I've been reading on social media. So I'm going up there with my childhood friend Eric. We grew up near there, and we're going to see what's going on. I'll be honest, I don't have much plans in finding anything. I'm probably just going to take maybe $100, $200, and if I come home and maybe with some 1963 cards, that would be great. But we'll see what happens. Looking forward to it, though. So speaking of 1963, I do have some card pickups. My latest pickups, as usual, are from the 1963 Topps set. And I've actually got 2 more 1941 cards. So let me show those off to you. Let me turn the camera around. I've been talking long enough. You guys want to get back to football. You guys want to get back to your collections. So let's get moving. So before I start showing you some cards, you might be wondering why I am showing the CD cover of the 1981 release by Rush titled Moving Pictures, which is a great album. By the way, in case you've never heard it, Limelight and Tom Sawyer, just to name a couple of songs on there. But Geddy Lee, the bass player and singer-songwriter for Rush, he is an avid baseball collector. And he is selling his massive baseball collection and other sports memorabilia on Christie's.com. And I'll leave a link in the description. But just some of the things that I noticed here when you take a look. He has baseballs signed by Shoeless Joe Jackson, Josh Gibson. He has uniforms and caps worn by Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig. He has autographed baseballs by JFK and by the Beatles. So take a look, because his collection is massive. And like I said, I'll leave the website here, Christie's.com. And if you're interested, the auction runs from November 21st to December 7th. And I think you guys will be doing yourself a great service. And another great service, if you haven't played this record, please. 1981 Moving Pictures by Rush. It's a great album. So next up, I have a 22 card order from the Batter's Box. These are all from 1963. So let's see what most of these are going to be commons, you guys. So don't sit here waiting for a Mickey Mantle or a Willie Mays or anything like that. Let's see. Here is Norm Bass, Kansas City A's pitcher. Let me see if I can just set him off to the side. And then Dick LeMay, Cincinnati Reds pitcher. I like the names. I like this guy's name. Frank Funk, pitcher for the Milwaukee Braves. I almost said Milwaukee Brewers. Milwaukee Braves. And I knew this guy when he pitched for the Dodgers. Phil Regan. I think the Dodgers called him the Stork in 1966. But here he is on the Detroit Tigers before he was traded to the Dodgers. Let's see. Cliff Cook, third baseman outfielder with the Mets. Looked like he'd been going up and down from the majors to the minors at this point. Let's see. Carl Willie, New York Mets pitcher. His uniform looks, though, like he might have been traded over from the Braves. Yeah, Milwaukee. All right. Now I'm just starting to. Paul Brown, pitcher for the Phillies. So far, I don't know many of these guys. A lot of these guys are semi-highs or high numbers, and just need them to fill out the set. I know some people think commons aren't sexy, but they help finish the sets. Don Mossy. The only reason I've heard of this guy is because I'm on YouTube. I'm not gonna lie to you. Don Mossy, pitcher for the Tigers. What human being do you think about when you see a Don Mossy card? All right. Oh, I forgot I won this card. Jim Perry, 1963 Minnesota Twins. It says he's on the Twins. His cap is an Indians cap, so he was traded. He was traded during this season. But there's Jim Perry. Went on to have some great years over in Minnesota. Ted Savage, Pittsburgh Pirates, outfielder. Ted Savage. Dan Fister, Kansas City A's. That's a sharp card. I always say I like the uniforms. This time I'm going to say I like the A's caps. Those were sweet. Yankee fans are going to remember this guy, Gene Woodling. By this time, very much a veteran and playing with Casey Stengel on the Mets. Had some good years, though, with the Yankees and I think with the Orioles and the Senators. He'd been around the block by this point. I don't know. This might be his last card. I don't know if he has a 1964 card. Jack Fisher, pitcher with the San Francisco Giants. I'm noticing today I won a lot of capless cards. Gus Trinidos, Detroit Tigers. But he played several years for the Orioles before this. So that's Gus Trinidos. Cal McLish, pitcher for the Phillies. What does this say back here? Oh, okay. Complete Major League pitching record. Cal hurled 2 shutout innings in the 1959 All-Star game. All right. Don Blasingame, second baseman for the Reds. Claude Raymond. Why do I want to say this guy is French-Canadian? Claude Raymond. I don't know why. I seem to remember him with the Expos many years later, but I'm probably wrong. Claude Raymond. Hal Reniff, if I can get him. Hal Reniff of the Yankees, pitcher. Been on the club a few years. That's Hal Reniff. Paul Toth of the Cubs. Paul Toth. J.C. Martin. I remember this guy 10 years later with the Cubs. First year I bought baseball cards was 1973, and I had a J.C. Martin on the Cubs. 2 more? Yeah, 2 more. Joe Askew of the Kansas City A's, catcher. And the last guy from this group is, I think he's a former Dodger. Yeah, Tim Harkness, but now he's on the New York Mets by this point. So that's Tim Harkness. And all these 1965 cards were purchased from the Batter's Box out of Tumble, Texas. So I think with these 22, that brings me down to needing 70 cards in the 1963 set. All right, let's see what else I've got. And let's round out this video with a couple of more 1941 play ball pickups. My first one, not an easy card to get, a 1941 play ball Mo Arnovich in a PSA 6. Arnovich played 7 seasons from 1936 to 1946, primarily with the Phillies, but he did spend 2 seasons with the New York Giants. He also spent 1 season with the Cincinnati Reds, and he ended up winning a World Series with them in 1940. Arnovich lost 4 years of his career serving in World War II, And he played one game with the Giants after World War II in 1946 before calling it quits. And let me bring this card up. There's a little bit of a glare on there, but that's a good-looking card. So here's his card on the Giants, Mo Arnovich. And the last card for today is the Hoosier Hammer, Chuck Klein. Played 16 seasons from 1928 to 1944, primarily with the Philadelphia Phillies. He was the 1932 National League MVP with a league-leading 38 home runs. But in 1933, Chuck Klein won the Triple Crown with 28 homers, 120 RBIs, and a .368 batting average. This guy put up massive home run titles in the first 5 to 6 years of his career, and he won the home run title 4 times. The funny thing, the irony here in 1929, his first full season, where he won the National League home run title, in the middle of the season, the Phillies added a 15-foot screen on top of the short right field wall of the Baker Bowl, where the Phillies played. The timing was peculiar as Klein was coming off a torrid July where he hit 14 home runs and was making a run at the home run record. However, William Baker, the Phillies' notoriously miserly owner, defended the addition of the screen, stating, "A number of accidents have been happening on Broad Street, owing to the balls going over the fence and hitting pedestrians, also damaging automobiles, breaking windshields, etc." That's interesting that an owner would say that. For the remainder of the season, due to the new height of the right field wall, Klein hit only 4 home runs in the 25 games played at the Baker Bowl after August 1st. He was the first player to be selected in the All-Star game as a member of 2 different teams, Phillies and the Cubs. And Chuck Klein was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1980. And this is a PSA 4 of Chuck Klein. And always nice to get Hall of Famers with the 2 cards, with Klein and Arnovich. Won these both from the same seller. Over the past year, I have won 8 cards from this guy on eBay. And I think we're done because the remaining 1941 play ball cards he has, I already own in case I choose to upgrade, and I'm trying to avoid that. But with the addition of these 2 cards, I now have 66 cards in my collection, 6 more to go. I have my eyes on getting 2 more before the end of the end. I was about to say the end of the season, before the end of the year, and leave 2024 to get the last 4 somehow. So if you stuck around with me this long, thanks so much for sticking around, and we'll talk to you next week. It's a beautiful day.